Hello, my name is America Rodriguez. I am the interim principal for Module 3 Teacher Evaluation Cycle Video. I will be recording the pre-conference for the sixth grade math teacher, Melinda Santiano.
Hi, I am the sixth grade math teacher. My name is Melinda Santiano.
Okay. So for our observation, I will be asking you a couple of questions. And remember, this is one of the announced observations. So I will be asking you soon what time frame in the next 2 weeks I'm going to be going into the class period you want me to observe and visit. As we go through the questions, some of these questions will pertain to what I'm going to see and do during your class time.
Okay.
What are the learning objectives or TEKs for this lesson, and how will you measure whether students achieve them?
Okay, so what are the learning objectives or the TEKs for this lesson, and how will I measure whether the students achieve them or not? Okay, so the specific TEKs that I'll be working on this next coming week, if that's the week that you're coming in on, would be TEKS 6.3C and TEKS 6.3D. So the focus on those two TEKs is operations with integers, and using manipulatives, specifically the yellow and the red counters. So the yellow and the red counters, the yellow represents the positive integers, and the red represents the negative integers. And so the daily objective directly addresses fluency in integer operations through hands-on learning, and then making the connections to the standardized algorithms.
Okay. Will you be using technology to integrate into the lesson to support mastery of the students' goals or their lesson goals?
Okay, can you repeat that again?
Yes. How will you be using technology to integrate into the lesson to support mastery of the lesson's goals?
Okay, so uh, I will integrate technology into the lesson probably midweek, because I'm going to start off with the actual hands-on manipulatives, and then maybe Wednesday, or after that, I will be using the online red and yellow counters. The counters online will be a big help and a support. And I do have a special ed teacher that comes in to support 3 times a week, and they also co-teach with me, and that's a big help, because we monitor the kids and move around. And the manipulatives online is also an immediate feedback of if they're understanding it or not, and using the hands-on at first just to get them familiar with it, and then of course integrating the online counters also is a big help, because it's just more efficient that way. They can use them online without having to actually bring out the manipulatives once they've learned the concept of using them hands-on. Okay.
Okay. Um, so during the observation, what classroom or what class time are you wanting me to visit?
um well, I you can come in first, third, or seventh block, but ideally, if you want to see a diverse group, I would say the seventh period
Okay.
class that has a diverse group of mixed ability and special pops.
Okay. So, um, are there any specific classroom dynamics, behavior concerns, or student groupings I should be aware of?
Okay, well, so first of all, if you were to walk in during seventh period,
Okay.
It is in the afternoon. There's a it's after PE to be exact, and I don't mind. I just that way you can get it's what happens every day. So they're a little rowdy. It's a full class of 22 students. 13 of the 22 students are special education students with
Okay.
disabilities or special needs. Out of the 13 of the SPED Pop group, three of them have either two or three disabilities, which three of them are actually dyslexic. So it's very unique, that they're very needy overall, this group. And then I've got one that's a 504 student. And then out of the 22, seven are actually just general education, general ed students that don't require any one-on-one or small group or any kind of accommodations. But it's a mixed ability group, so you'll see a lot of diversity and then how they learn from each other and so forth.
Okay. Um, what teaching strategies and activities will you use to engage students in learning?
Um, so can you repeat the question?
Yes. What teaching strategies and activities will you use to engage students in learning?
Okay, so um, first of all, using the manipulatives or the online counters is one strategy. I also implement my turn and talk, um, and my students are paired up in groups, usually in pairs or in groups of three. Seventh period happens to be grouped up in pairs of three, so that's another strategy that I use. That's the peer tutoring, or the what you would call collaboration groups or collaborative groups. And so the turn and talk is when they're actually working with each. It's a small purposeful talk. You probably know it as a small purposeful talk. So that's another strategy, and it helps them if they're not unsure or don't want to answer out in front of the entire 22 students and the teacher. Then when they're working in small groups, when you're monitoring them, you can hear them speaking and talking about it. And if they're unsure, the other person can explain, and the person that is the student that's explaining, it's helping them too, because it's reiterating that information. So those are some of the strategies that I use.
Let's see. How will you know if your lesson was successful, and what evidence are you looking for?
Okay, so how do I know if my lesson was successful, and what was the last part of that question?
Um, and what evidence are you looking for?
Okay, so evidence. So daily, we have a warm up, and then that's usually to warm up their brain, and usually it's some type of math work that we learned yesterday, so prior knowledge. But how do I know if it's successful that day? I always have an exit ticket. So I'll grade that exit ticket. Sometimes we grade it together real quick, and it's kind of like checking for understanding. And then sometimes I'll pick it up, and I'll grade it at the end of the day. And so then I'll have a quick check to see if 80% of the kids got it correct, then I know that it was successful. Um, if 70 or less, or like 50, then I know, okay, if it's like 70, I just know I have to go back and retouch it, and um, through a mini lesson or through warm-ups and reviewing. Now if it's like 50% or less, then I would have to go back and reteach the entire lesson in a different way, so that I can reach all the learners. That's one way. Quiz at the end of the week. Every Friday we have some kind of quiz, whether it's 5 questions or 10 questions, and then of course our unit exam, and that could be 10 days later, or it could be 12 days later. So for immediate check for understanding to see if they got the lesson, it's our exit tickets. That's going to be the fastest way that we can get some feedback. And then, of course, quizzes, and then the unit exams.
Okay. Um, what? currently working on as part of your professional goal and or your growth plan?
So what am I currently working on as my professional goal or growth plan? Okay, I don't have a growth plan, but I do have a professional goal. And so my professional goal is that I have a SMART goal. I've been keeping track. I've been tracking the TIC 6.3C and 6.3D from the beginning, with the beginning of the year assessment. And so I'm tracking those TICs every time they're tested, as they come up a lot. They're frequently used throughout the year. And so those that tested very low, I'm tracking. Okay, so I'm tracking all the students, but I'm specifically looking at those because they're heavily tested. And so the students, I make them accountable because they have a folder and they're tracking their own quizzes, and so they can see if they went up or down, and they know which teaks they're weak or they're strengthening or what they need work on. So I'm also making them accountable for that, and that's my goal. That is my professional goal.
Okay. And as they're tracking, do you have a form? Are you tracking it on your own or they're tracking as well?
Well, I can pull the reports out on Agiphoria, and so I also do a data V, so I can track it. That's for mine and my department heads information and my administrator. But I do have a form in which it's kind of like a bar graph. They label it unit 1 or unit 2 or quiz 1 or whatever the quiz name is, and then they're tracking it in their it's a bar graph, so they fill it in, and so they'll see what their percentage is, and then they also have one with the teaks, and then they go back, and if there was teak 6.3D was tested 3 times and they got them all correct, or did they get 2 out of the 3, and so forth.
Um, all right. Sounds very interesting. I'm glad you are tracking the students. Remember, we are looking at your SMART goals and we want kids to improve. And if, we're looking for more of the growth now, as we're, moving in through the teaks and stuff. And we do want them to have their basic foundations. So see you during your class.
Okay, and I look forward to seeing you sometime this coming week. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, this is Module 3 Teacher Evaluation Post-Conference. We will be reflecting with the math teacher from 6th grade, Melinda Santiano.
Hi, I am Melinda Santiano. I am the 6th grade math teacher.
Okay. How do you feel the lesson went and what worked and what worked well for you during the observation?
Okay, so I feel like the lesson went well overall. The students were engaged with the use of the yellow and the red counters, which provided a visual and a tactile way to understand the positive and the negative integers. The hands-on activity helped build a concrete foundation for abstract concepts. Um, okay, so what really worked well also was the students being able to model and go through their and explore first, and then go through their operations or their word problems before actually transitioning into the actual algorithm. um, they were using number sentences or the word problems, so actually getting familiar with it, so that helped, like hands on first before they actually tackled their their problems. Um, what else? I think that they all were able to get along and work together because they're used to working in collaborative groups. So they take ownership, or they help each other out and think through, make each other understand.
Okay. So, what did you want the students to learn, and how did you know they got it?
Okay, so what did I want the students to learn, and how do I know that they got it? So how do I know that they really mastered the concept? I wanted students to understand how to fluently add and subtract integers using the concrete model, and connect the understanding to their understanding to the standard algorithm. And I knew that they were grasping the concept through observation and questioning them through their work. Of course, I modeled it first, and then they had the guided practice, and then we monitored them, as they were working together. And then at the end, I knew that they mastered it through their exit tickets for the day. So that's a daily thing that we do, and it's checking for understanding. I collect all the exit tickets and then grade them. And if 80% of the students mastered it, then I know that it was a successful lesson, which that happened to be 85% to be exact. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
So 85% of the students mastered it. And so I feel like it went really well. Um, and then, of course, at the end of the week, I gave the quiz. I haven't graded that yet. It's all done through Eduphoria. So I'll have a number on that soon.
Okay. Um, and those exit tickets, did you see a consistency with the answers as they were doing the exit tickets?
Yes, I did, and I also saw that they draw, and they'll doodle their manipulatives on there. Like they'll have like three red ones, and they'll color them red, which is the negative three, and then they'll have like the four yellow. And so I think that they're using something that they learn, and even though if they didn't have the actual manipulative when they were doing, at the end, or they were able to use that and draw. And so I feel like, yeah, that was successful.
Okay. Um, so I know we were talking about your population, uh,
Yes.
and since it was a very diverse group of students, uh, did did your sped pop?
Sorry. Sorry. I apologize. Okay. I sped pop.
Yeah, we're sorry, talking about your sped pop. Did your sped pop and like can you like did you see between sped pop to general pop who was picking it up more with those exit tickets, or do you just check them and put them to the side? Do you compare? Do you separate? Do you know what students are going to need more instruction?
So I compare like who mastered it and who didn't master it, but within that I've noticed that there was a few sped pops that didn't master it, and there was a few general ed that didn't, very few that didn't master it, but there was quite a handful of sped population students that actually mastered it. So it
Do you,
was, to me, even, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, only my seven, general ed got it and then my 13 didn't know. It wasn't like that. It
do you think the
was,
manipulation, working with them hands-on, help your sped pop pick it up more?
yes, I definitely know that the manipulatives helped. I'm a strong believer in that. And then the small purposeful talk, the turn and talk strategy. That's
Okay.
really a
Um,
big help.
so your instructional aide, does she normally walk around? Because I saw her walking around during the observation, or does she only work with her students? Or Can you tell me a little bit more
She
about that grouping you had?
Yes. So she comes in, jumps in, and she helps any student. And so the students are not segregated at all. So they're in mixed ability groups. So we have highs, mediums, and lows within the group. Each collaborative group, and she'll jump in and she'll help. So we're like kind of like co-teaching, even though she's the para. She'll come in and we both just kind of just monitor and assist, so she will help all the students to answer your question.
Okay. So let's talk about um, your transitions, your routines. Okay. Your classroom culture, the environment. I saw that everybody knew what they were doing. So it was not something that was, oh, we're gonna do this because I'm having an observation. Your your routines, your transitions were set up nicely. Um, can you run through that routine for me?
Yes, sure. So I have a leader of the week every class period, and it's in alphabetical order. So I'll start, with it. It's in alphabetical order. So I'll type it out and I'll have it displayed on the whiteboard on Monday. And that's the helper or the leader of the week. So they already know that if Johnny's the leader this week, as soon as they walk in, they're going to start distributing the composition books, because that is where we do our warm up every day. And if, like in this class with the 22, somebody will usually jump in and say, "Can I help Johnny?" And I say, "Sure, ask Johnny." And so, yeah, usually they'll kindly take their help, and they'll distribute it just because they already know that they have 3 to 5 minutes. And while they're doing that, I'm taking roll, and then I secure the door, make sure it's closed, and then so it's 3 to 5 minutes, and it's they get in, distribute the material, the composition books, and they get to work. And then if they don't have a pencil, I always have plenty of pencils, and so I'll loan them a pencil, and they already know the routine. If they know a pencil, they come get it. They're usually already sharpened. And then for collateral, they'll lay their backpack down right by my my working area. I won't say desk because my desk is off to the back and I never use it. I just has my stuff on it and paperwork. But so they already know. They'll leave me their collateral, which is their backpack. They'll pick up the pencil and they'll start working. And so it's just we have it down to a routine, and we from there we transition. After the warm up, then we go into our lesson, and if there's a video with the lesson, usually 3 to 3 minutes or so. It just depends on if there's a video with our Carnegie Math book, and then from there we do I model the work, and if there's any in vocabulary to introduce, I introduce it, and then we do the guided practice, and then at the end independent, and then transition into the exit ticket. So then I always have a buzzer 5 minutes before, that way we know it's time to start cleaning up. um, Usually I have a buzzer a few minutes before, like 10 minutes, and then I give them 5 minutes to do the exit ticket. And then after that, then they'll start cleaning up after themselves. If they had scissors, markers, whatever, everybody has a task to do, and they'll get cleaned up, because we never start lining up until that bell rings. We work from bell to bell, and if there's material that's still out or composition books, we got to step in and pick them up. And so if you walk into my classroom a day that I'm not there, um, the procedures are in place, because the kids have been trained from day one what they need to do. And if there was somebody that didn't know what to do, I always leave directions, but there's always a handful of kids that will tell the sub, like, this is what we do next, because it's a routine.
Yeah.
So
The environment was flowing. Everybody knew you had them set up very well. Um, the other thing I wanted to bring in was your routine in questioning using the popsicle sticks.
oh yes.
And they had the name of the student. Um, and when you did that, that one student's the only one talking that leaves the rest of the class with, huh, they didn't pick me, right? So, part of, growing in as an educator, it's a suggestion towards you.
Mhm.
Would you consider that instead of just singling out one random kid in your group, because you have them set up in group, another way for them to collaborate together, um, getting like a table leader to speak, and you would pull out the popsicle stick, so just I guess to save you time, because for each class you have a popsicle stick set, and then you have to undo it and make sure you wrap it up, and just in case you forget, or oh, you got to change to the next class, just having you had a table, you had 5 group tables, right? So like table one would speak out, and that gives the table enough time, wait time. We got to give them that wait time once you ask that question, and then you just randomly pick the table. Uh, am I making myself clear? Like, do you understand what I'm
Yes.
trying to say to you?
Yes, if I okay, so I have popsicle sticks by actual uh class sets by their name. And so what you're suggesting is that I have like if I have 5 groups, table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pull that number and anybody from that group or anybody from that group can answer, or if they have roles like I'm the speaker today, you're the note taker or reporter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like giving them all some part of collaboration for their group. So, yes, I am sitting on the speaker seat, but within your routines, because your routines are great. Now, we want to make it more student center, where they take that ownership and they know that that's the speaker, but what else can you do? Like,
Okay, so yes, so that way they, if they're shy or they don't know the answer, instead of being embarrassed or shy, then
yes, because, we do have
they
those
can talk about
students.
it. Yes. Okay. Okay.
And so it's just a suggestion.
Yes.
Just to grow. Okay. Well, is there anything that you need in support? Any professional development? Um, Anything to help you? Because I'm here to help you to grow in your profession.
Mhm. Professional development. Yes, I would like some professional development. Um, let's say, well, definitely with math, like more math strategies, implementing more different types of manipulatives. Since I teach 6th grade and they're still kind of like they're transitioning over from elementary, that's what I would like to do. So focused on the math. I guess also facilitating student led, uh, like me as a facilitator, just facilitating and the students doing more student led work,
Okay.
work or projects. So that's what I would like to
Kind of
do.
like a flip classroom. Is that what you're looking at? Where,
Yeah.
you know, the kids kind of do everything on their own, and then they come in and they already know what your expectations are. So you're facilitating more than full-blown
Yes.
teaching, all teacher directed. You're aiming for that student led part.
Yes. And then maybe even when we do have uh, district PD training or district like the staff development, but the students are off that day. It's a holiday for them. Maybe even some vertical alignment within like elementary, middle, and high school.
By content.
That's something we haven't done in a long time. Yes,
Okay.
vertical alignment within the department.
Okay. Um, well, that is it for your post observation. And if you feel like you would like, you need to tell me something, you forgot to mention it, or a resource that you would like, just email me. Remember, the door is always open. You can come visit me as well. But thank you. It was a pleasure observing your class and the students, and you have such a great rapport with them. You know, you are an amazing teacher. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So is that it for
Yeah,
this time around?
this will be it.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.